this on demand afterwards. I hope you are having a wonderful weekend or in the middle of a great productive week. As of when we're recording this right now, Friday, July 14th, I got my good buddy Chris Colt here, aka the Challenge Champion. Chris, it's great to have you. Any plans for the weekend?
It's my son's 18th birthday this weekend, so we're still ironing out some plans with that, but there'll be all the fun stuff, right? Whatever we can come up with. And as long as it stops raining and thunderstorming here in New York, it'll be outside stuff.
If you got about 4 hours to kill, new Mission Impossible movie's looking pretty good. We got our tickets for IMAX tonight, so
nice.
I hear it's awesome, but it's long. Same thing with
Oppenheimer. Movie won't hurt.
Next week. I can't wait. So, all right. So Chris, so we want to address, so what is it that we're talking about when we're talking about challenges?
You're working it's a mini, think of it this way. This is the best way to describe this easily. You go into a grocery store on a Saturday and they have all these different things you can try there. Some things you're going to like, some things you aren't going to like, but the things you like, you typically take home because you know they can benefit you. Challenge is nothing different. You as an authority figure get to bring your ideal clients into an environment to see A, if they like you, B, to learn something that you may know very well that you can take them through very small segments each day to let them see that they can get the confidence in themselves that they're going to implement what you teach them. And then from there, they move forward into loyal clients. So it's an experience. A book you've heard me talk about this, I'll put it out there, The Experience Economy. We're in this economy now where the more you can have an experience with your clients, the more vested they are, the more immersive that is. I'm an endurance cyclist. If you get me on a trek or any kind of bike I like in the woods and I'm considering buying, and I get to have an experience on that bike and I truly like it, the credit card's going to come out. So why not give that experience to your clients in short bursts, get a mini win each day, and really learn how to move forward and implement something that'll benefit their business.
Yeah. Chris, who's the title of that book and the title and the author of that book?
Yeah. So it's The Experience Economy.
Yeah.
And it's from Joseph Pine and James Gilmore.
Great. I'm going to put a link in the comment below, or again, if you're listening to us, just go ahead and again search in Amazon The Experience Economy. It's one, Chris, that it's been on my list. I haven't read it yet, so I'll put that link in the chat window there.
I'll tell you, everybody that ends up getting it, they always message me or my clients like, "Oh my gosh, everything you preach is in this book," and it's like, "Hey, but how does that impact your business? What can you do with that for your business?" That's why I preach the book, because yes, it's what I do every day. However, it just impacts people in their business so big.
Give me an example of what we mean by talking about, providing experiences for our clients and members or audiences, as opposed to just offering services and that sort of thing.
Well, I mean, it's really easy to offer. People are very time critical now. To get their attention is really challenging. Let's be real. I mean, if you're listening to this, like, no, I can get my client's attention any day, then you're dealing with a client that's not doing something impactful at the moment. Okay. So to bring them that environment where they can actually just get around others and see what can transform in their lives and business, people will take the time for that if they're interested in what you have to offer. But why not, instead of going through all these sales calls and having to go on and on and on, bring them to a place where they can actually have that experience of what it's going to be like implementing your company's solutions. And for service-based companies, it's a way to shine. It's a way to stand out, because you bring them into an immersive experience where they get that feeling of being part of something. And most people, when they start to experience the change and they start to see it, are like, I can see how I can implement this in my business. And, the applications go wide for at least what I do, but anything with an experience. Think about, you do experiences, like you've had summits over time, right?
Yeah.
You're bringing people into an environment where they can experience in mini segments, working with some of the clients you work with, but then also working with Josh. Hey, what can Josh do with me? He's here every day hosting us and moving us forward.
A big part of what you're talking about, Chris, I do believe, has to do with also allowing, and I want to ask you about this because I read a really great book, although I can't remember the name of it. Maybe you can remind me. It's the one where I was actually introduced to Mighty Networks, The Business of Belonging.
Yeah.
And one of the kind of the main tenets of that book was encouraging agencies, service providers, business leaders to, and this might sound scary, to allow your clients to connect with one another. And I think you have some opinions on that topic.
Oh, huge. And shout out to Mighty Networks. Gina, awesome person. Love everything Gina's doing. I know we're both big fans of what they're doing. But I mean, that environment, when there's a fear factor, right? Because say you're not doing something right for a client at the moment, there's always hiccups and the client's like, I'm just going to rip them today, right? There's that risk. However, at the same time, if you're doing everything correctly, you have enough clients that are going to give you testimonies that one little piece of noise is only, hey, how do I improve that? Okay, maybe we did have a little hiccup here, right? That's part of life. But I see this time and time again with those that have built communities, and I can even share some stories on communities that when they're around other clients, all of a sudden you have this, when you're bringing others into that environment, there's already a community of raving fans sitting there, screaming and shouting for Josh. I see that Christina's on this live right now and some others, right? Just sitting out there and screaming on their behalf. There's nothing better. You don't have to do that selling thing, right? I've been in sales my whole career. I love it because I know I'm helping people. But most people aren't into that. They want to just have somebody else help them spread the message. So when you have that community, to me, it's the strongest thing you could ever do. You know, we helped the company launch a community that started with a simple white powder you drink, right? I'm an athlete, so I like to get my body healthy. And that community grew the business alone because they had raving fans to over $1 billion in sales in 3 years from zero, because it was all community-based.
Yeah. If to our friends that are watching this live stream, I've actually been sharing links to the books that we've been talking about. I think that only works in Facebook and Facebook and YouTube, where I'm also streaming that as well. So if you can't find it, maybe check Chris's other platforms. Chris, which platforms to folks that follow you, which ones are you streaming
right now? And I see a bunch of you on LinkedIn. So my LinkedIn is lit right now.
Yeah.
I have it on Facebook and YouTube also, but LinkedIn is live right now also.
Yeah, and just check. We'll comment later after the fact too if it didn't show up. If the links I'm sharing in the comments doesn't show up, not a worry. Again, the two books: The Experience Economy by Joseph Pine, and then The Business of Belonging: How to Make Community Your Competitive Advantage by David Spinks. So those are the two books that we've mentioned so far. So Chris, what would you say to maybe there's a business owner leader that says, I don't know, like I want to keep my relationships siloed because sometimes we have challenges with our clients, and I'm talking about challenges in the other way, right? Maybe they're like, if let's say there's a bad situation, I don't want that to trickle out into the community. And maybe that's the fear of like rejection, or, kind of maybe it's the, insecurity or the imposter syndrome that's keeping us from allowing our community to truly, to connect and collaborate with one another. I can tell you that when you start, here's our experience. So this was about 1.5 years that we moved to Mighty Networks. We said, listen, we're going to allow all of our community, we're going to allow all of our clients to connect and work with one another. That in 1.5 years, I don't think has ever been there. I can't think of one major negative experience from that. There's only been positive. And so what we found is that through that collaboration, we also, Chris, don't have to originate all of the thought. Like when you start crowdsourcing your solution, your clients will probably, your members will probably come up with some really good feedback and ideas. And then they start working and building on each other. Today, a lot of what we do, I say, it's not my idea. It's one of our clients came up with that idea, and we just implement it and deploy it, across all of our clients. But Chris, let's kind of shift over, unless you had any thoughts on that before, because I want to talk specifically about kind of using this as an attraction, using the concept of challenges as a way of attracting folks. Any thoughts, final thoughts on the kind of that power of community?
Yeah, so I'll just add to what you just said. I've worked with clients, and I'll give one example of a client who, quite frankly, they had a little bit of a hiccup, and they had an open community that clients were in there and new potential clients were in there. And the CEO was humble enough to say, hey, you know what? We had a couple of issues. He addressed the whole thing. This happens when you're in business. These things are real. This is how we operate, but we're able to share this with you. He ended up getting more new clients because of that, because they saw how they communicated. They were willing to own an issue, and they fixed it within a week. It was a pretty big issue, but that ended up bringing on more clients. And from what he told me after that was the fact after some of those new clients that came in ended up referring more people because they're like, I just watched the CEO humble himself in front of this entire group on a live and say, hey, we made a boo-boo. We're going to fix that boo-boo, right? And he did. And he's like, you got to come in here because they're taking care of us. So there's that power. There is that power. And this world, people want authenticity. They want realness.
Oh my gosh.
You know what?
Yes.
If you're not willing to take that risk, you're going to, one day you're going to get exposed. And we see that side of things too.
Yeah. And there's so much power from, when someone reports some negative feedback, let's say in a Facebook group or whatever, I'd say constructive criticism, right? Where it's like, I'm really frustrated that this isn't working like this or whatever. And for the owner or for you to respond to that and say, you know what? Thank you so much. I agree with you. It should be better. What ideas do you have? So how would you like that done? And let's do it together. Man, now you have your community is taking ownership in this thing. And that can really get pretty powerful.
Yeah. I mean, think about that. You bring the person on who had the minor issue, and hey, let's talk this through. Like that person's going to love you forever because I'm going to go fix this for you. And there's going to be 4 or 5 other people listening. Yeah, I'm dealing with that now too, but look at what they just did. So to me, it's more power. There's more to comes out of that long term than there is hiding it, because then, things go sour in the other way.
Yeah. All right. So let's talk about, Chris, because you're well known for helping to create challenges for your members, for your clients, in a way that ends up attracting a lot of attention and attention from new members, clients, audience building. Can you talk about why? And you did already just a little bit, right? But if we think about, just buy my program, so we see that everywhere. It's just noise. It's like, it just seems so one-sided. And instead, how does a challenge feel to consumers today?
That is a great question, because I interview attendees of client challenges and my own challenges all the time on lives, because I'm like, hey, you came in the challenge, you had no clue what this was. What was your experience, right? And it's some of the most powerful feedback. Well, I saw something that interested me that I needed to learn. Then I saw the person teaching this that was taking me to a place in very simple process, not confusing process. The experience was amazing. I was around other like-minded people. Now, I need to give a note. The challenges that my clients do tend to have 15 to 40 people in them, okay? Bigger difference than some of the ones you may have experienced that have a lot of fluff behind them. I'm dealing with thought leaders, subject matter experts, consultants who have no fluff allowed, right? They're getting to the point. They're not rambling on, but they build this micro community. And what ends up happening, the experience for the person being there is like, oh my gosh, I'm part of something bigger. And there's 20, 30 other people who want to be part of this. And if you do these correctly when you design them, because design is the key of a challenge, it is a key. And I watch so many people mess that part up, so many people. And that's where people usually come to me. Oh, I did one of these things. I need some help, right? I'm like, okay, let's fix this now. But when you do this correctly, there's all sorts of neurotransmitters that start going off. When people get these little wins each day, they want to come back. Next thing you know, first day, sometimes people are quiet. Day 2, hey, I got this question for you. I got this question. Then you get this group asking you all the questions. It's like, this is awesome. So the key thing that people always miss, Josh, and we started this off with community, the micro community is there. That community of buyers is there. It's just a matter of bringing them through a journey that basically makes it where they're like, this is a no-brainer. I'm moving forward. They don't have to be sold. They literally are walked into a red carpet situation to move forward.
Yeah. And we want to talk about like audiences that are perfect for this. I can say that I think application for consumers, totally awesome. Like I just invested in a 6-month become a competent bass guitar player. I've never played before. I'm going through all the lessons right now. And I tell you what, if that guy did a special challenge, he said, for all my graduates, how easy this would be. By the way, bassbuzz.com, listen up. But if he said, listen, if you're a graduate, we're going to do a special challenge. Listen, we're going to make it pretty nominal to join. What we're going to do is we're going to, come up with some kind of we're all going to And then you just kind of set the structure for what I'm going to let you define this, but I'm just kind of thinking out loud here. And then at the end, we're going to have fun and prizes and recognition and celebration, for those who are able to improve. Like, that sounds really, really fun. And I would end up, Chris, I'm just like thinking about like where I am in that journey right now. I would be so into that challenge. I literally just started the program. So I'm like a week in, but I'm already seeing like a lot of comments of people like, hey, I bet through your core program, what's next? What are we doing now? And he's like, well, I got free stuff on YouTube. And I'm like, man, what a missed opportunity. Because Chris, you think about like what it costs to create, like, let's say people are like, I want another course. You're like, I don't want to build another course because that takes a lot of time. Talk about how easy it can be to run a challenge and give people a lot of new engagement opportunities and content.
I mean, first off, on the course thing, and listen, I love courses. I learned, and my clients learn, I don't build anything until I know people want to be part of it. So the challenge is the key, right? If I could take people through components of what I'm going to teach in that course, boom, get a group of 20, 30 interested, then I'll go build the course out, right? Because you took all the hard work out. Your return on investment's already there. But what you're talking about, Josh, that individual has the ability to bring people into the program you're in through a challenge, right? Get people lit up, get them excited, get them go. But then how do you sustain that, right? On the other side, I have clients all the time, myself included. When I have clients, I set mini challenges on the back end. Like, they come in to learn about me through a challenge. They go through some of my programs. And then on the back end, I'm like, okay, now I got to make sure you're implementing this consistently. So we set up, sometimes it's 30-day, 60-day, 90-day challenges, right? I love the 5-day model because it's short, sweet, to the point, gets things done, gets action takers in. But that consistency over, I have a company right now that's working in the sales forces, right? We're using a challenge for software that they sell as a lead gen, right? Bringing people in. Now they have a high ticket item, so they can't just put somebody into $1 million sales offer that doesn't have the budget. They can get them into a consultancy, right? But from there, they start using the back end. Okay, now let's start moving our software into their environment by teaching them how to use it on a challenge. Next thing you know, what was a 2-year sales cycle goes down to 9 months because they brought people in through a consultancy gig, not a big ticket, but enough, $25K typically. Then they're bringing them in. So the budget's getting built for that bigger deal. I have other clients, they have high ticket programs. They bring them in through a 5-day challenge. They bring them through the program. And like I'm doing, consistent challenges to keep that engaging, to keep people showing up.
I want to, just as someone who's watching us right now, it's like, okay, they keep talking. What is a challenge? I feel like we kind of been answering that a little bit, but let's just kind of maybe set the dictionary definition just so we have the vocabulary. What is a challenge, Chris?
In a nutshell, it's called taste and see marketing. Okay. It's basically, Chris has a lot of knowledge. Josh has a lot of knowledge, and I can overwhelm you. Josh can overwhelm you. You listening, you probably have a lot of knowledge. You take that knowledge and you dummy it down into 5 days, 4 days, whatever you do. If I like 5, I know that 5's the sweet spot number, and you teach a little bit each day to move people forward. My favorite approach is to use the marketing pain point approach. So I'm going to give you an example for me personally. I know somebody, first question they always ask me, will a challenge work for my business? So when I do my challenge, day one, I talk about the industries, how it can impact a business, how to implement them, and I give them a tool to show them what kind of revenue it can generate. Then the next question is, great, I'm sold on that. What happens next? What do I teach? I show them how to design the challenge. Next question, great. How do I fill this bad boy? What do I do every single day? I teach them on day 3. And then day 4, I actually guide them into my offer, right? Because I brought them pretty far. I show them, okay, here you are now. Here's the benefits of what we got. Boom, move them forward through that. So day 4, I make my offer. And day 5 is always a bonus Q&A, because I find giving people that opportunity just to sit, and I answer questions the entire week. But at the end of the day, if you saw what I just did there, it's literally, if you do these correctly, it's taking marketing pain points that your clients always ask and educating them each day on your zone of genius that you can help them with to guide them forward. You do these right, they will need your services on the back end, because they're going to get pretty far in 3, 4, 5 days, but they're going to be like, now I want to implement this. And Josh is the guy that's going to do it for me.
Yeah. And are these free or paid?
I prefer paid. I've done a lot of these. Now, people do them free because they want to build a list. I have my opinion on that. I've done a lot of free ones, and like I've generated massive lists, but when I look at the open rate, it's like, I just stopped doing it. What happens for me, I do them all paid. Like I have an upcoming challenge. I charge $100 with a $300 uptick on VIP. The engagement in that challenge is through the roof. Yeah, less people, 20, 25, 30 people. That's fine, but they want to be there for a reason. They show up every day. I'm not going to waste their time. I coach them like I'm actually coaching a real client. They see that. So for me, I'm bigger on the paid challenges, and those that have the highest conversions. Let's be real. At the end of this, you do want to have clients, right? When I look back across almost 110 challenges done now between myself and clients, the paid ones are always the highest converting ones. Always. No ifs, ands, or buts.
Yeah. You can give me a 20-second answer on this. Why do paid ones work
Because
better?
people pay attention to what they pay for, and they want to learn this stuff, and they implement it. And you know what? The second you put a little bit of money across the finish line, I'm in. That's all there is to it.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. And are there any audiences where you've seen, yes, it's a little more challenging if you're dealing with audiences that A, B, or C? My experience, for example, like a couple of personas that we work with, they're not all of our personas, but if you get like a founder that's like, they're just so ridiculously busy, they're just so sensitive to adding anything else to their plate. So getting them to participate. And if they're running like a 7-figure company, we found it tough to get that founder involved. And so the way that I think, and I'd love your opinion on this, is because to our friend that might be watching, you might feel maybe a little resistance there. And so the way that I think I would correct that today too, is I say, listen, someone is responsible for growth at your company, and that person needs to be running experiments. They need to constantly be testing things. They need to constantly be engaging with your community. If you're too busy for that, then you need to delegate that to somebody. I don't care who that is. It can be you, or you need someone who's incredibly competent, because this is a pretty, if you've given up on growth, a la the E-Myth, you're doing business wrong. Right. Yeah. So that's kind of how I would address that. Or again, I would say the flip side of that persona, it could be maybe if your main point of contact, because maybe you've been an SEO service provider or something like that, right? And so your main point of contact, let's say that they're just not that active. Like they don't want to work more than 10, 15 hours a week. Again, same thing I would say to them is, look, if growth or connection with your community is valuable to you, then you need to have someone. You can't ignore it. You have to do it. Who is that person within your organization? And that's probably how I would address that. But Chris, I'll let you talk maybe about personalities and personas that work well, and maybe you have to caveat this a little bit.
I'm going to give you two sides of the equation here. One, let's go with the one you were going with. I got an upcoming challenge coming up, right? And I have a couple companies who put some of their individuals that are in charge of certain things that the founder wants to take care of, but he has team. So he's just putting his team in there, right? He paid for them. They're coming in my challenge, and they're the ones that are going to go through this. And they're excited. I got a couple sales teams coming in. There's 4 or 5 people from a couple companies coming in, because what I can teach will impact their company. So, right, this chief revenue officer has got his eyes all over this, but he said, Chris, I love what you're doing. This probably will work for us. I can't devote the time, and it's not because I don't like you, but this is the team that can. I'm like, great, bring them in. Got to know them all. They're coming in. So I do agree with you, Josh. There are going to be people who are going to be like, no, but that's any event, not just challenges, that's summits, that's all this stuff. So it's just a matter of finding the right person. Now, devil's advocate, I had a client that only deals with CEOs of companies that are 10 million plus. Okay. He's a consultant, and we did a challenge, and he tested me. He goes, this will never reflect on you, Chris. I'm willing to go all in with you. If I get 5 people in this challenge, because I know how busy my people are, I'm going to be ecstatic. 17 people in this challenge, and it was a 6-figure plus challenge. Okay. And they were all CEOs. Now, we had to do it at a very specific time of the day. It was later in the day. We played with the variables. So I think he did that at like 7:00 Eastern time at night. So it was a little bit later, but he had them showing up. He was no more than 30 minutes of the day. They showed up. He's like, hey, I'm not here to jibber jabber. You're going to get what you need in 30 minutes. I'll stay to answer all your questions after. Almost all of them stayed on for a full hour because he was just dishing out so much value. So there's 2 sides to the coin, Josh, but you just work with the coin.
Chris, also, I think it should be said that the plan is not to get rich on the proceeds from the challenge itself, right?
Right. Everything with the challenge, when a client comes to me, the first thing, Josh, and says, I want a 6-figure challenge when we do this. I'm like, okay, you're not the right person for this. Now, it happens, okay? I need them to understand you're serving people first. You are getting an authority out there. The clients always follow. It's the person that never says that statement to me that has that six-figure challenge. It's the one who says that statement to me that doesn't have the six-figure, because they're in there selling the entire time. You need to be servant-minded. You need to be willing to give out your knowledge, not all of it, but enough, and give a lot of value. I promise you, the results follow. So like when a client asks me, how much am I going to get out of this? I'm very careful working with that client. And I can look back on all the clients I worked with, and the ones I work with are servant leaders. They put people first. They're mission driven, and they do very well with this model.
Yep. By the way, I mentioned another book. So every time I mention a book, I'm going to comment there. I put E-Myth by Michael Gerber.
Great book too.
Obviously I would say, on the back end, there's going to be some people that are going to want, now they're going to have a taste of success. Yep. They're going to want more. And so you talked about this, on day 4, where that would be kind of the appropriate place to start, to really start showing them here's what's next. But Chris, as we do that, let me share my screen here, because I want to put your website that I've put it in the captions down below, thechallengechampion.com. This is your website, but very specifically, follow along to our friend here that's watching us. And I want you to scroll down
right there,
and where it says the One Challenge Away challenge. This is time sensitive. Click learn more here. It's going to take you to the One Challenge Away challenge.com. It's a quick little video here. Chris, talk about what this is.
So at the end of the day, this is a 5-day challenge. Technically, it's 4 days. Day 5's Q&A. And I do a pre-challenge call the Friday before so you can meet everybody. I love doing that. That's a writer-downer, by the way, doing this, lighten things up. You're going to walk away out of this challenge to learn my proprietary challenge framework that's going to attract your ideal clients with ease, banish those sales calls, create an instant micro community, and add a baseline to build a business that's sustainable, almost, I'm going to say it twice, on autopilot, right? There's technology and things you got to set up. But when you implement what I teach in this 5-day challenge, you literally are going to have a nice fall harvest if you do this correctly. So there's no fluff in this. It'll be an engaged community, and we're going to have a lot of fun together.
We've got a coupon code that you can use. It's Josh25. And if you use that, click where it says activate, right here, join the challenge now. It says for $100. But if you use that
drop
code,
it in right there so they can see how it works.
Yeah, right here. Look at this. You just put Josh25. I don't think I earn any money. I'm okay with that. Like I just want you to do this because Chris is a good guy. Chris has been a speaker at our events. Look at that. Brings it $75 for a full week. You can go through everything that's included here. But there's one thing I wanted to mention, Chris, and I just want to highlight this about who really needs to learn and implement this information. And listen, if you are a coach, if you are a consultant, if you are a thought leader, if you offer services, if you're an agency, where did I see that?
Right.
I saw
right there. Who's it
for?
For?
Yeah, look at this right here. Yeah, course creators, consultants, community builders, entrepreneurs, solopreneurs, brands. If you have an audience around your brand, this is, Chris, what I like about this is a very ethical way to build engagement, provide a ton of value on the front end for people so that it makes it ridiculously easy for them to build a relationship. So they're getting proximity with you. You're helping them get early wins and successes so quickly. And so it's just a very friendly way to deepen that friendship and relationship very, very quickly.
Oh, absolutely. It's what I call an experience funnel, Josh. It's completely, so I talked about the experience economy. I'm going to teach you an experience funnel. How do you do it?
Yeah. What an experience funnel, just to define that for us? Please?
That's bringing a client through an experience, from the top end of a sales funnel, right? But it's more of an experience base to get yourself discovered, build trust, deepen that relationship, and yes, convert to clients, okay? That part always happens. So it's just a funnel that you get to have an experience. I do these challenges once a quarter. I used to do them once every month. That's how well they work. But now that I'm helping clients scale their businesses, I'm more involved in their challenges. So I do this once every quarter.
Yeah. Again, the website, and we've put that, and I'll comment with that link as well, the One Challenge Away challenge.com. Or again, you could just, Chris, your main website, thechallengechampion.com. And so talk about the structure of this. It's July 31st, August 4th. What's going to happen during that week?
So we go live at 11 each day. I have no fluff. So typically I'm done with 25 minutes of what I'm going to share. Now there's engagement with the group, so we're on for an hour. But you will get 25 minutes of actionable content each day. And then I stay on, I answer questions, I keep an engaged audience. So day one, I walk you through, is your business ready for a challenge? Day two, I show you what to teach in a challenge. Listen, I used to not do this part in a challenge. The first time I did this in a challenge, people were baffled. They're like, I can't believe what you just did today. And I don't overwhelm you. I keep it very simple. I'm not a fire hose person. That's a writer downer for anybody doing any kind of challenge. Never fire hose your audience. Day three, I show you the triggers for a successful challenge. And yeah, day four, okay, I'm going to make an offer. I'm going to show you a proven framework to launch in your challenge and take it deeper so you can have a revenue stream from it. Day five, we sit back and we just have Q&A. You come with your questions, I'll answer them live.
It's Friday.
I don't like doing, I find I've done enough of these. Here's another writer downer. Don't teach anything on a Friday. Let people just sit back by a campfire and talk with you. And people show up. I'm baffled how many people show up on a Friday because they want to be there. And there's a $10,000 prize, Josh. Somebody's going to win. You can go through this entire funnel. My friends that designed this, somebody's going to win that now. We're gamifying the living daylights out of this challenge. So you're going to earn that. But last time I had a gentleman win this. We're launching his challenge in a month right now. But somebody's walking away with the same exact system I have all set up and built for you. This is freaking gold because this, well, I mean, I have a VIP on this. I'm just going to share this. Challenge is $100. Obviously, you can get $25 off. I have a $300 uptick for a VIP with a one-on-one with me. The conversions on that, because of the way we structured this system, and I've done a lot of challenges, Josh, are almost 39% right now. So that guys, we're going to build that for you too, whoever's in this, whoever wins it.
So you can absolutely, I mean, listen, this will be profitable activity for you out of the gate. Like in the first week, it's going to be profitable activity for you, I suspect. But long-term, the back end and what that's going to do for your community, and it brings people together, like people just, it really deepens that relationship. There's a few bonuses. And again, I just want to, because I put the URL on the page, I just want to, just for folks joining in here, thechallengechampion.com, and then scroll down to the One Challenge Away challenge. And that's where you'll find the link to the One Challenge Away challenge.com. And again, please use that coupon code to save yourself $25, Josh25, and that'll take that $25 discount off of there. So, Chris, there was some bonuses in here. I don't want to spend too much time on that, but I know that there's some extras that you're going to be throwing in here. Do you want to anything?
Some of the bonuses, highlight? Keep that right there, just so I remember them all. But pre-challenge call, I'm going to tell you we do that the Friday before. Because a lot of people tend to sign up for the challenge on the weekend anyway, but typically we get 15, 20, 30 people that show up. You get to meet the community you're with. Very, very powerful. You get to introduce yourselves to them too. That is one of my biggest keys to challenges. When I do that, everybody tells me that was one of the biggest things you can do, because when everybody's showing up, they sort of know each other. You get playbook. Listen, you're going to walk out of there with a literal playbook that we're going to fill out the entire week. Like, it's the playbook, parts of it, not all my entire challenge champion framework, but key components of it, you're going to get that you will walk away with, holy cow, I have this in my hands. You get all the replay sessions. I get it. You might miss a day, right? Happens. You get access lifetime to those. Also, you get a challenge community and checklist launch tool for both challenges and community. That's another huge tool I used to never give away. And the revenue. I literally walk you through on day one to show you exactly, using a simple calculator that has scaled all my clients' businesses. I'm putting numbers in, how it looks, and what you could generate with challenges, and all the impacts that happen in challenges, right? You can change all the variables. We walk you through that. You get in our private community. And then, so that's that. That's all that.
Yeah, Chris, this is really fantastic. And again, I really just wanted to share this with folks because I know how powerful this is. Providing experiences. When you can change the dynamic of your relationship from a transactional, me service provider, you client, you give me money, I do the thing, Like that you run a lot of risks, in your business, when there's no sense of there, right. And you're not, you can certainly, surprise and delight on the quality of your services. However, you're just missing out on this hidden, I'd say 80% potential of what you could be doing if, again, you said, kind of create that sense of community. People agree with you, Chris. I'll tell you, that's one of the strongest selling points is, I get to come on and introduce myself to all these other people, potential networking opportunities. And again, in yours is going to be no different. Again, we've got the link on the page right here, the onechallengeawaychallenge.com. Yeah. Use the code Josh25 there, and you get $25 off the $100. And again, the timetable for that, register now because the your challenge, Chris, starts. What was it? Was it July?
Monday, July 31st.
Very end of the month.
So it's perfect timing. You're getting us on this calendar early. And listen, you're going to get the 3 big things that business owners want: community of buyers, scalable client conversion, repeatable, simple systems. That's what you're going to learn that week for sure.
Chris Colt, you are the challenge champion. You're a good friend. You're a good business partner of ours as well. We love working with you. Thank you so much for sharing these great ideas. Hopefully this has stimulated some thought for you that you kind of munch on over the weekend. But definitely grab that link, post that to your team, whoever's responsible for growth within your organization, share that, bring it up on Monday or whenever your team meeting is, and then get somebody, hopefully, someone, get the founder and join the challenge just so you can start to see the potential. What I can tell you, Chris, is that, to our friends, that if your sales cycles are going a little bit long, if your conversion rates are not where you really want them to be, you need to be running experiments. And this is something that you need to consider and take a look at, because it could absolutely be the thing that's going to be that grease on the tracks to get more clients engaged a lot faster, build your community. And Chris, again, I want to say thank you so much for joining us this Friday for this fun session.
Great to see you again. I always love doing this, Josh.
Awesome, Chris. All right, to our friend, have a wonderful weekend. Again, the One Challenge Away, challenge.com. Use code Josh25. Have a